verified. Priority 1 message from Starfleet coming in on secured channel.
Hello, captains, and welcome to the live broadcast recording of episode 479 of Priority.
Nope, still no. Still no. You said 79.
97.
Yeah.
97. Look, this is what happens when I have to live stream and host at the same time.
Are you trying?
Overloaded. He's overloaded.
Are you trying not to get to 500? Is that the goal? Is to not get there?
Reset.
Yeah.
I'm a little bit like George Costanza. Once we hit 500, I'm out. Good night, everyone.
Done, Jerry. I'm done.
I'm done, Jerry. So hi everyone and welcome. It's good to have you. It's episode 497 of Priority 1, a Roddenberry Star Trek podcast. And we are here without Kat because Kat is in a frozen tundra.
She's a catsicle.
That is Texas.
Pretty much.
That is Texas. That's what's happening right now. That's just the way the world is right now. That Texas is freezing. I like the meme. There's a meme going around with a picture of the United States, and it's like the United States is currently a hot pocket, where it's hot on the coasts and really cold on the inside.
That's about it. Yes,
that is an accurate weather forecast.
So we hope that that those of you who are in the middle of the country are staying safe and warm and healthy, and are not. What about Tony? What about you, man? Are you hit by it at all in Kansas?
Oh yeah, it's super cold here. But number one, we're in Kansas, so we don't complain. So number one, we need to make sure we get that right out of the way.
I don't get it.
Number two, though, we're a lot more used to the cold weather up here. So, and our power generation stuff is winterized. So we're not having nearly the problems that Texas are, but we're about the same temperature. We're getting snow, all that kind of stuff. Basically, the middle third of the country, like you were saying, hot pocket territory.
Tracy, are you going to come and join us for our 500th episode celebrations? I'm sorry, Tony, I was listening to you.
No, that's okay. I have to.
I mean, Tracy does.
Tracy
does Trump Tony any day of the week.
Tracy, you got to come and celebrate our 500th with us. It's happening March 13th, Saturday, from doing a 500-minute live stream. 500 minutes. That's the plan. You heard it here. We haven't even really announced it yet. That's because I'm still in planning stages, right? I'm still making sure that we have guests and we have some sponsorships. We want to be able to give away some stuff, so I'm reaching out to some people to give us some swag that we can give away. The plan is
the
shiggity swag. The plan is right now, tentatively, Saturday, March 13th. Somewhat tentatively. This is kind of like it. Saturday, March 13th, from 11 a.m. Pacific to 7:30-ish Pacific, which is about 500 minutes. We're going to do a 500-minute live stream, which is about 8.5 hours or so. Thank you, Dr. Robert Hurt, for that wonderful idea. He's the math man that figured that out. So yeah, we're going to do that, and it's going to be a fundraising event for the Poor People's Campaign, which is an excellent nonprofit organization that you might have heard of. You might have seen the Reverend, who kind of spearheads that, making several speeches throughout these last couple of years. But yeah, they cover a lot of social justice stuff, from COVID response and education on vaccinations to immigration reform. It's one of the reasons why I liked it. I had chosen it. So yeah, there's that to look forward to. So mark your calendars, March 13th. And yeah, are you guys ready to start, or should I banter more and pass the time?
No, I'm good. I learned a new magic trick, but other than that, I'm good.
Am I gonna turn around and suddenly there's some shit behind me?
No. But do you want to see it?
Yeah, sure.
It's super quick. So I have two cards here. Okay, there's a red card. Okay, and there's a black card. Okay, so again, a red card. All right, and a black card. Okay, so I'm gonna take the black card and put it behind my head. So what card is this?
Not either of the cards you showed us.
I stopped paying attention for a moment, and now I don't remember which one you put.
Okay.
Okay, the
so
black card.
There's a black card here.
The nine, yes.
And then a red card here. Okay.
Uh-huh.
So black card.
Uh-huh.
Okay. Red card. Okay. All right. I'm gonna take the red card and put it behind my head. Okay, so what card is this?
The 9 of spades. I'm sorry,
okay. No. I put the black card behind my head. So what card is this?
Oh, still the black one.
No. The black one's behind my head. So which one is this?
The red one was behind your head.
Yeah, the red one is behind my head. Now, which one is this?
So what happened was the 9 and the 2 are back to back behind his head.
Wow, Tony, let me ask you a question, buddy. When you go to a play, do you sit in the audience and go, "That's a fake wall. That's a fake wall. They're not really in that room. That's a fake wall."
It's cute that you think that Tony goes to plays.
No, I do. I've been to several. I've been to a number of plays, musicals even that I've enjoyed. Yeah, I know. I'm shocking. No, but Anthony, you want a tip from your Uncle Tony, from the other Tony, from Legacy Tony?
Sure.
Do something to distract from when you move your wrist. And maybe it's just an artifact of the camera, but I can see your wrist kind of doing this when you're going back there. The other problem is that if you're watching the card, the spatial orientation of the back to the where the 2 and the 9 are, it's unless there's a misdirection someplace, it's easy to see.
All right, so can I say something as
it's a good trick, though.
Bobby Elio? Can Bobby Elio share something here? Tony, you're not the magician. So shut the up and let the magician do his trick. How dare you critique the artist like that?
I want him to get better.
You pick up. You know what? Go find.
All right. I'll do one more. Okay.
I'll do one more. Okay. Somewhere there, Tony.
Look. This has got 6 dots on it. Okay. It's got 2 on this side. Okay. It's got 4 on this side. All right. And then it's got 1 on this side. Okay. So again, it's got 6 on this side. It's got 2 on this side. It's got 4 on this side, and it's got easy. 1 on this side.
That one's easy. That's just about covering.
Wait! I got one more.
I'm not gonna say anything. I apparently I've abused some sort of code that I'm not aware of.
Oh, I don't know where it is. Never mind. I guess I can't do it.
He's gonna come out with a dragon. All this. He's like, I can't find it. Boom, dragon.
Boom, dragon. Now I don't know where it is. Oh well.
Is that your mannequin head for your Klingon?
No. I have a. It's funny. After I got all the Klingon stuff, I realized I had bought a makeup case years ago for just because it was a cool case that opened up. And so I bought 2 of those mannequin heads and I cut the face off one of them. And so I set the face in the bottom of the makeup case with the prosthetic on, and then the makeup is all in the thing. So it's all in one container. Yeah.
Well, I want to give a quick shout out to Josh Heinrich, who is watching from Houston, and we're the first show he's been able to watch. The first
Josh, who has power. That's a good thing.
Well, he says he's been without power for 2 days, and this is one of the first shows I'm able to watch.
Very nice.
Josh, we're glad that...
stay warm, buddy.
Yeah, stay warm, stay safe.
Hi, Dave. Nice to see you, too.
Yeah, Dave Rutley's there. What's up, Dave? Stevens Aaron is there. Great magic trick, Tony, says Stevens.
Thank you. Thank you.
And
at least somebody appreciates me.
I appreciate you.
I want you to get better. I want you to master.
It's hard.
You to master that.
It's hard for me because after he pulled that shit at the diner with me, and the card behind my head, that's hard to follow up with. You're gonna need to pull out a dove.
I did learn
out of the jacket.
Did I do the one where I tear the card up yet?
Yes,
Elio?
that one. Yes,
I did. Okay.
You have on the show. You have. Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Why don't we do a show? Shall we? Let's do it. Let's do a show.
I mean, I've been doing a magic show for the last 10 minutes. I don't know what you guys have been doing.
Fair enough.
Other than ruining the willing suspension of disbelief.
With the willing suspension of disbelief, I was unaware that
actually that's not true, because Teller, one of my idols, Teller says magic is the unwilling suspension of disbelief.
I don't understand how you did that. I saw you do it. I don't understand how it happened, but it just I'm confronted with that paradox. But
damning with faint praise. Tony, when you picked up chicks in your youth.
Whoa, hang on. Wait. Pause.
There's your first assumption.
Pause. Wait a second.
There's your first assumption.
Can we fact check that before we continue?
Yeah. No, you don't need to. I'm going ahead and going on record that let's go with that conversation. That'll be a short one.
That's right, Jamal. It's facial hair night here on Prairie One. Facial hair and glasses night.
Stevens is watching from New Zealand. What's it like to go outside and visit people?
New Zealand. Holy crap. That's awesome. I don't think we've ever had somebody from New Zealand. We've had Australia, right? Roscoe's in Australia. Yeah. But I don't know that we've ever had a listener in New Zealand. That's awesome. Where's I want a map. I want to
global reach.
A map. I keep saying I'm going to do this and I don't do it. But I want to have a map and then push pin every time we have a listener from a different place.
They have to admit to it because everyone's VPNing in front. They're like their VPN set to Czechoslovakia or something. Of course, that's not a country anymore. Czech Republic. How about that? Their VPN set to Czech Republic.
All right, let's do a show. I'm gonna go ahead and start recording. Legacy Tony, do you mind taking the jotting down the timestamps for this one?
Am I still Legacy Tony?
Yeah.
I think I'm still Legacy Tony. All right.
I mean, I've never been called Tony, but...
Do you want Old Man Tony?
That might work. Okay. That's fine. I got it. I got your timestamps right here.
You got your timestamps
right here. By the way, I could also be called Old Man Tony because I just turned 40 a few days ago. So
you're in second place.
I know. Oh, I know. But I feel old now. I feel like an old Tony.
Yeah, it catches up to you. It catches up to you.
Sorry, guys. Let me. I'm adjusting the.
I hurt my. No. You don't understand. 2 days before I turned 40, I pulled a back muscle sitting in my bed, like cross-legged. I was sitting in my bed, cross-legged, with a pillow behind my back against the wall. And the next day, I woke up and my leg hurt like crazy for the next day and a half.
Okay, you got me on that one. Although I do sometimes get a muscle pull back here from sitting at my computer and using my trackball. My wife tells me it's because you have 3 monitors. Take away 2 of your monitors and sit straight, you idiot.
No, wouldn't that be neck?
I like all my monitors.
Because I have a neck problem because I have a TV over there, and it's connected to the computer. So I'm always like this when I'm watching stuff. So
there's a muscle that runs.
Ow. Yeah.
See, there's a muscle that runs from like the bottom of your ear all the way down through like your back, and my wife always has to like punch me in the back until it works again.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay, now we can start the show.
Okay. Well, I'm glad that we all got our.
And then I've got my rheumatism. It's cold, and so I've got my. Okay,
all right.
sorry.
Start recording.
Oh, you know what the problem was? I forgot to wave my magic wand.
Start recording.
Misdirection. There you go. That's what it is. Plus, you need a lovely system.
All right. Intro in 3, 2. This week on episode 497 of Priority 1, we trek out how ViacomCBS fumbled during and after the Super Bowl. Ron Moore's...
I gotta stop you there. That's not really what the article's about.
Oh.
Yeah.
What is it about?
ViacomCBS is an arms dealer in the streaming wars. That's a quote.
An arms dealer in the streaming wars? Jeez.
According to the article, arms dealer is a quote from Bob Backish. So.
All right. Okay. This week on episode 497 of Priority 1, we trek out how ViacomCBS is an arms dealer in the streaming wars, Ron Moore's latest adventures, and rumors fresh off the mill. Then in gaming, Star Trek Online gets reactionary with its newest legendary ship offerings, and we finally break down our review of the anniversary's featured episodes. Excuse me. Hello, Captains. You're listening to episode 497 of Priority 1, a Roddenberry Star Trek podcast. Your weekly recap and review of all the major news happening in the Star Trek multiverse. This episode was recorded on Tuesday, February 16th, 2021, and available for download or streaming on Friday, February 19th at PriorityOnePodcast.com. I'm Elio.
I'm Tony.
And I'm waiting for an intro.
Okay. And filling in for Kat this week because she's frozen down in Texas is Anthony. Let me do that again. And filling in for Kat this week as she stays the week at Rurapente is our social media specialist, Anthony.
Hi.
Oh, come on.
Good to be back.
That was good. That was good.
That was really
sounds like the beginning of some quality banter there.
That's great.
Hi.
That's
Hello, everyone. I'm on the
try
podcast.
That again. I'm going to give you one more try. Here we go. And filling in for Kat this week, who's spending her... And filling in for Kat this week because she's spending her time at Ruapent... God damn it. And filling in for Kat this week, who's... And filling in for Kat this week, who's spending her time at Rurapente, is our social media specialist and Armada live streamer, Anthony.
Always a pleasure to be here.
Welcome back. You read for Kat.
Okay, right. Is this up to date, or was this just for last week?
No, everything's up to date.
Okay. This week, we want to welcome new listeners to the show and hope you'll stay in touch. Given that we're a podcast built by a community of Star Trek fans, it's important that we also hear your opinion. Be sure to follow us on places like Twitter and Facebook, where we post weekly community questions, special announcements, and more. Just watch for Priority One Podcast on your favorite app, and you'll find us. Or email us. You can reach out to us at incoming@PriorityOnePodcast.com.
Like Anthony said, this is a community podcast produced by a team of volunteers that dedicate their time and talents each and every week, from audio editors to writers to your very special hosts and guest hosts. We come together each week because we are passionate about the Star Trek multiverse.
And like any passion project, it's hard to keep things running at no cost. So, if you find value in this production and want to help us continue to grow, trek us out at our Patreon page. There you can become a member. There you can become a patron for as little as $1 a month. But we understand that financial contributions might be tough right now.
Which is why our door is always open to other passionate Trekkies who might be interested in joining our team. From audio or video editors to artists to hosting. That's right, the hunt is on for a new voice to join our team. So if you've got a lot to say about Star Trek, we encourage you to visit our website, PriorityOnePodcast.com, and click on the Join the Team link at the top. There you'll find a description of available positions you can contribute to.
And if you are a listener of the show and happen to be a member of the BIPOC and/or LGBTQ community, we hope that you'll seriously consider applying. Necesito más personas que le encanta Star Trek y que también son latino. Ojalá. It's important that we make every effort to represent all corners of the Star Trek community. So remember, that site is PriorityOnePodcast.com.
Now, let's check out all the latest news from the Star Trek multiverse.
All right, that ended at 5:30. Mr. Hunter?
Get it?
And we can jump in if we want. Do we have anything written for the Ron Moore thing?
Yeah, the two giant paragraphs that you've clicked in.
My bad. You know what? Because we're okay. Never mind. Right.
Did I format it incorrectly?
No. You're right. Oh. That's fine. Okay, so check it out at 6 minutes, please. Starting at 6 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Check it out in 3, 2. As the streaming wars heat up, so does the struggle to keep highly talented show creators locked into deals at a single production studio. J.J. Abrams made headlines recently, jumping from Paramount to Warner Brothers. And now The Hollywood Reporter is saying Star Trek alum Ronald D. Moore is making a move. Having produced shows for both Starz and Apple TV under Sony TV, Moore has secured a deal with Disney's recently acquired 20th Television, where he will start with a recreation of a Swiss Family Robinson series for Disney+. Moore seemed very excited about the move, saying, quote, "I grew up loving Disney movies, TV shows, and theme parks, and I still do to this day. So the chance to work on some of the same classic titles like Swiss Family Robinson was an opportunity I just couldn't pass up." End quote. Moore will remain involved with both Outlander on Starz and For All Mankind on... Moore will remain involved with both Outlander on Starz and For All Mankind on Apple TV, the latter of which has just premiered its sophomore season.
In an exclusive interview with TrekMovie.com, Moore talked about the creation of the show, how they ride the line of an alternate reality space race while keeping it recognizable, and how working on Star Trek taught him how to write for television and the importance of diversity. For All Mankind is set in a fictional reality where a Russian cosmonaut was the first human to set foot on the moon, and how that event would affect the subsequent space race to follow. Quote, "Star Trek basically taught me everything about writing for television in a lot of ways. And we did a lot of time travel episodes. We talked internally about a lot of history, a lot of alternate history ideas." End quote. One of the biggest challenges with this fictional reality is the diversification of astronaut crews.
One more time, I kind of slurred a little bit.
One of the biggest changes with this fictional reality is the diversification of the NASA astronaut crews nearly 15 years earlier. Moore said that was one of the core concepts of the show, to make a bigger and better space program. Quote, "And why is that better? We're creating a better world. To bring it back to Trek, it's the road to Star Trek. So what does the road to Star Trek entail? It entails becoming a better society." End quote. For more information on Moore's move to Disney and the full interview with Trek Movie, the links are in the show notes.
I don't know about you guys, but I absolutely loved the first season of For All Mankind. Damn it, I said it again. I don't know about you guys, but I absolutely loved the first season of For All Mankind.
I am currently rewatching the first season in anticipation for the second season, which comes out this Friday. And I've also introduced it to my wife, who has been enjoying it as well. So, Ron Moore just creates really good television, and I'm kind of excited to see him jump over to Disney and what he can do there. I think Disney has been blasting off, as a streaming service, and will continue to do so. I think I just read an article recently that they're scheduled to overtake Netflix subscriptions in the U.S. in 2026. So we'll see. This should hopefully be part of it.
They've got a little time then. They've got some time. What you're saying is Netflix has a little time. Okay.
I will say this about these articles is that I'm really sad that he's not working on Star Trek. I think this is an absolute missed opportunity. And this could have happened one of two ways. Either Paramount, ViacomCBS never approached him, or they approached him and Ronald D. Moore said, hell no, not touching that with a 10-foot pole. And I don't think it would be because he doesn't appreciate the Star Trek franchise, but because of the drama.
Well, it's the rules too that you have to play by to an extent, which Discovery tends to break sometimes. Ron Moore is credited as talking about how really dramatic scenes that they wanted to do in Star Trek got axed because of canon or because of techno talk. And so, he even said when he created Battlestar Galactica that he wanted to get as far away from that as he could. And he wanted to ground that show in as much reality as possible. And I think that's the real reason why he doesn't want to return. Although, I say that, but after watching the DS9 documentary and seeing him in that, season 8 writer's room where they broke the first episode story, he seemed pretty happy about that. And if this deal with Disney didn't go through, I would not have been surprised if they talked him back.
Never. Money and bad robot / Kurtzman / all those guys. He is way too expensive to hire for Star Trek, and the creative clash that would occur between Alex Kurtzman and Moore one of them would not survive. And that whole situation has been one upheaval into the next between all the reshuffling of all the producers in Discovery. So they couldn't afford to have that kind of a clash, and it's better for all concerned if Moore just stays away. And so and he would be way too expensive anyway. And I suspect that they may give Ronald Moore Swiss Family Robinson because that's what they had ready to go. That's what was baking right now. I suspect they're saying, and the next show, rummage in the toolbox and see what you'd like, and then play with that. That would be, for a guy like Ronald Moore, that's the attraction for Disney, is that play nice with this thing because it's ready to go. Show us what you can do. Make us a show. Show us how you run a show nicely. Then rummage through the toy box and see what you like. That's what I'm excited for.
We can move on to the next one.
We've been talking on the show for a while now about CBS All Access, soon to be Paramount Plus, and how the broadcast home of Star Trek fits in among the plethora of streaming services out there. One analogy that we've overlooked is, perhaps surprisingly, arms dealer. At least that's what ViacomCBS CEO Bob.
We think Backish.
Backish, yeah, Backish.
It is Backish. I just wasn't prepared for all those B's.
CBS CEO Bob Backish.
At least that's what ViacomCBS CEO Bob Backish calls it. We've talked in the past about how CBS has been a lot more cavalier with licensing. Wow, I am really rusty.
I was not expecting that face. Like you swallowed an unreasonably large pill.
An extensive pill. We've talked in the past about how CBS has been a lot more cavalier with licensing its extensive library to other services. Come on.
Sorry.
We've talked in the past about how CBS has been a lot more cavalier with licensing its extensive library to other services. I can still watch Star Trek reruns on Netflix, for example. However, they've made it a habit to sell their new content off as well. According to an...
Damn it, Panda. He goes, an unreasonably large pill is called Paramount Plus.
I mean...
If the shoe fits.
If the shoe fits.
Yeah, if the shoe fits.
Sorry.
Sorry, where was I?
According to an article.
Take it from however.
Okay. However, they've made it a habit to sell off their new content as well. According to an article on Bloomberg. According to an article on Bloomberg.com, they've sold an Aaron Sorkin drama to Netflix and a movie about Billie Holiday to Hulu. Oh, and that Coming to America sequel? Paramount made it, but Amazon is going to distribute it. And maybe worst of all, they sold a popular Western-themed series called Yellowstone to Peacock. Yeah, Peacock. According to the article, licensing deals like that account for nearly a quarter of the company's revenue. And with movie theaters closed and the stiff competition among services, that's money they can't afford to just give up. They can't even pay to get their stuff back. According to the article, Peacock wouldn't release ViacomCBS from the Yellowstone deal. So they're just going to make a prequel. Because if there's one thing Viacom, CBS, and Paramount Plus know how to do, is how to do reboots and prequels that everyone loves.
I swear, I don't have a degree in business, but I'm at a point now where I'm starting to think I could run Viacom CBS much better than what they're doing. I try not to speak so highly of myself, but Jesus.
They've to be fair, they've painted themselves into a little bit of a corner. What was that for?
Because you saw the look on my face when he said, I try not to speak too highly of myself, and I made a face, and then he flipped me off.
How dare you? How dare you? I do not.
How dare you, sir?
I do to defend myself against you. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Tony.
That's right. But that's it. To be fair to them, they've painted themselves into a little bit of a corner. CBS All Access has been around since 2014, and it wasn't like a big thing 7 years ago to do this. So they started off making money and making deals with people because they had an extensive library, right? This was their business model when things got started. It's just that the rest of the world has just blazed past them really fast, and now they're trying to play catch up. And they've painted themselves in a corner here. They're trying to get themselves out of it, but their investors are impatient. Competition is fierce, and their library of old stuff is going to be mined for the new things they can make out of it, like prequels to the stuff they sold to other networks. Which, wow, that's like that is history repeating itself right there.
My God, there's so much about this Viacom CBS rebranding. And the platform that is just so wanting. I mean, CBS All Access as it stands. What?
We haven't seen the new platform yet. Paramount Plus may be awesome.
We haven't. I really hope that Paramount Plus is awesome. I'm not going to hold my breath.
I thought you just said Paramount Plus might be awesome, but continue.
It could be.
It could be. But, first of all, we already know, and this is from Yahoo News, that CBS All Access, the app, will come off of second and third gen Apple TVs, and Paramount Plus won't be available at all on third and fourth gen Apple TVs. So, like, what? The only way to do it is to have the app on your phone and then cast to the Apple television. I think that's a mistake, number one.
That could be, yeah.
And then number two, I just finished watching The Stand, which is another CBS All Access show, exclusive show. Why is that in 4K and not Star Trek? I mean, there's so much wanting. There is so much to be left. I can't. In my head explodes.
You can't even.
I can't even with them anymore, man.
Can't even with that business. Their strategy here is a legacy one. They're trying to dig themselves out of it. I think though that the taking them off the old Apple stuff is indicative of the fact that they're trying to up their technology. It's probably because the older generation hardware won't run it fast enough or isn't compatible with it, or hang on, I got someone sick over here. It's probably because the new app won't be compatible with the older hardware. They've got updated the feature set, whatever. That may be a good indication that they're trying. Whether or not they succeed is yet to be determined. We'll know more on February 24th. According to the article, they're going to have some more details ahead of the launch, March 4th and 5th. So we won't have it in time for next week's show, but the week after.
I don't know. You may be right that some of the horsepower underneath needs to be a little more powerful to run it, but Stevens in the chat makes a really good point that for anyone who's not tech savvy and doesn't know how to use AirPlay, that's a barrier to entry. That's a significant barrier to entry. And just for the record, like we said, it was a Yahoo Finance article. It's the second and third generation Apple TVs. I'm just trying to... The second generation Apple TV came out in 2010. All right, that one I can kind of like, okay, maybe you're due for an upgrade. The third generation came out March 2012. So that's 8 years. I don't know, man. I get it. 8 years is asking... It's quite
asking
old.
A lot of your hardware.
It's quite old. But still, though, it's a streaming box. I mean, when was the last time the Roku was significantly updated? Just this last year. Just this last year, the Roku saw an update. But prior to that, the Roku was fine.
Maybe you couldn't handle 4K.
So let me get this straight. So let me get this straight. No. Let me get this straight then. If you don't have 4K, what? You're not going to be able to watch Star Trek. Like you should be able. They should be able to render it.
Yeah, they should be able to. But what I'm saying is that they have probably maxed out the capabilities of their current platform, and they're scrambling to do something new.
Yo, this new platform better be damn good if you can't play it on second and third gen Apple TVs. This better be some kind of miraculous rework of the interface and the app that would require somebody to upgrade the Apple TV just to have it work. I mean, seriously.
We'll know in a week or two.
It's funny because I was very gung-ho about CBS All Access when it first came out, and I know it definitely had some bugs. I think they've worked out a lot of the problems, but now I'm like, okay, you're just on the back end of getting it running right, and now you're changing it all around again, which unfortunately I think is a necessary branding step, because I think that Paramount Plus is a better brand. I think it's a more recognizable brand. There's more properties that are part of it, that are recognized, associated with it.
It's like Disney Plus, only not as good.
Well, it's like Disney Plus, but with different stuff.
Right, they're not as good stuff.
I mean,
it's like Lego and Mega Bloks.
I don't know.
They work together, but one of them is Mega Bloks.
The other thing. I lost my train of thought.
The Mega Bloks analogy was just blew your mind.
It just blew my mind.
We can move on. I think we beat this to death. Because if we keep going, you're going to mention 4K Star Trek again, and
everybody's going to be drunk.
The Expanse looks gorgeous in 4K, and I should be able to watch all the space battles in Star Trek, and every time the Discovery goes through a nebula.
But the problem is, hang on, because the problem is the only Star Trek in 4K would be Discovery and Picard, and Lower Decks.
Yeah, so.
But you don't watch any of those shows.
I do. I have to. It's a necessity for the betterment of this show. Well, this week the rumor mill was churning out some good ones. But remember, captains, these are only rumors and should be taken with a grain of salt. For starters, Drew Deitch at Giant Freaking Robot has heard... For starters, Drew Deitch at Giant Frickin' Robot has heard reports that Paramount is moving forward with a fourth installment of the Kelvin timeline. But instead of it being a strictly theatrical release, ViacomCBS plans to release it simultaneously via its streaming service and theaters. According to their sources, Pine and the rest of the cast will be involved, although a new director has not yet been selected. The plot? Well, they're going back to the timey-wimey Pine Kirk meets Daddy Hemsworth. As if that wasn't rumor enough, the article goes on to say that the studio is trying to get Shatner to appear as well.
While we're on the topic of returning cast, Deitch?
I said Deitch. Yeah, Deitch.
Deitch. While we're on the topic of returning cast, Deitch has a separate report suggesting that Scott Bakula, who played Captain Jonathan Archer in Star Trek Enterprise, will come back to reprise the role on Star Trek. Who played Captain Jonathan Archer in Star Trek Enterprise will come back to reprise the role on Star Trek Picard. According to the article, the studio hopes to, quote, bring Scott Bakula back by having him cameo in another Star Trek... Quote, bring Scott Bakula back...
It's the bees. The bees are just murdering.
It's the bee. I'm having a hard time with bees. It's also Bakula back. It's like I'm about to go into a rap.
Vitamin B deficiency.
My Bakula back rap. Boom, boom. Sorry.
I want my Bakula.
I won't beat back.
Bakula.
I want my Scott Bakula. All right, serious time, Tony. Come on.
Shout out to Go ahead.
Yes. Let's shout out.
Shout out.
Keep going.
That is a very quiet shout out, but okay. I'm just gonna take it back from the beginning.
Just take it from the top, yeah.
While we're on the topic of returning cast, Deitch has a separate report suggesting that Scott Bakula, who played Captain Jonathan Archer in Star Trek Enterprise, will come back to reprise the role on Star Trek Picard. According to the article, the studio hopes to, quote, bring Scott Bakula back by having him cameo in another Star Trek show and then leave the door open for him to headline his own solo series, end quote. On the topic of filming, while we're anxiously awaiting new Trek to grace our television screens, social media might help you pass the time, especially if you follow folks like actors, showrunners, industry folk. You see, earlier this week, actors like Ethan Peck and Rebecca Romaine posted some innocuous... You see, earlier this week, actors like Ethan Peck and Rebecca Romaine posted some innocuous social media updates. Random pictures from Canada. Blame Canada. Then, unrelated, Star Trek Picard showrunner made a tweet that was quickly removed. In it, he wrote, "Day one of many," with a little film camera emoji. So, if we piece it all together, we can assume that filming has begun for both Star Trek My bad. So, if we piece it all together, we can assume that filming has begun for both Star Trek Strange New Worlds and Star Trek Picard up in Toronto, Canada. They don't shoot Picard in Toronto. They shoot it in LA.
Oh, my bad. It's actually Strange New Worlds and... Yeah, Picard. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. So, if we piece it all together, we can assume that filming has begun for both Star Trek Strange New Worlds and Star Trek Picard. Now, if only we had release dates.
So there's a lot to unpack here. Lots of rumors, right? We've got rumors about a fourth movie, which is always it's just always churning in the mill. And so I don't want to spend too much time on that because we'll always keep revisiting the stupid rumor about the fourth movie.
I would like to say, I think that the delay of Star Trek 4 is a happy accident for Paramount because of the new state of releasing content. And I think that if they had produced Star Trek 4 and tried to release it in theaters, all of those contracts, forgive me if I, correct me if I'm wrong, Tony, but because I know that Disney is having some issues with releasing Black Widow on the streaming service because of the contracts with the actors.
Oh, yeah.
And so I think that if they had filmed Star Trek 4 with the intent to release it in theaters, they may have had to hold on to it until after the pandemic and after theaters reopened, and the box office wouldn't have been nearly as much as they would have. So I think this might have been a happy accident for them to now produce Star Trek 4 in today's climate, specifically for a hybrid release.
Yeah, it's not a happy accident. It's just it's continuing consequences of Paramount being Paramount. They couldn't get it done because both Pine and Hemsworth are now, quote, big stars. You may have seen them around in superhero movies and whatnot, and they don't need a Star Trek paycheck. So they could just say, no, give me more money or else I'll go do something else. So now they'll probably go, things have slowed down quite a bit. They might not be in demand as much, and they might be able to go to Hemsworth and Pine and say, hey, you're looking for work? Oh, by the way, this is going to be a streaming movie, and those don't pay as much. This is the middle ground between straight to DVD and actual theater release, right? There's now a nice middle ground here that they can try to occupy. So they may try to make a Star Trek movie a little cheaper than they might have been able to once upon a time. We'll see.
All right. So how about? Go ahead.
Yeah, I was gonna. And on the people showing up for work stuff, Archer is gonna show up in Strange New Worlds. That makes sense from a timeline handoff perspective. They're gonna resume the tradition of having a handoff, and it'll be Archer handing off.
All right,
to
hold on.
Strange New Worlds.
I was gonna ask that same question. So in the interest of editing and flow, I'm gonna say, all right. So let's talk about the possibility of Jonathan Archer coming into New Trek world. How do we feel about that?
Do you want me to repeat it, or are you going to cut it in?
No, repeat it.
Okay. Well, I'm pretty sure that we're going to see Archer show up in Strange New Worlds, because that seems like a handoff to me. That's they're going to resume the tradition of someone from a prior series coming on and handing off the show reins, as it were, to the next iteration. Just like Zephyrin Cochrane showed up at the beginning of Enterprise, Archer's going to show up at the beginning of Strange New Worlds and wave goodbye to Captain Pike somehow.
I think you're wrong. I think in the finale of Star Trek Picard Season 2, Riker and Picard go to the holodeck and watch an episode of Enterprise.
And watch an episode of Enterprise watching an episode of...
Watch an episode of NCIS New Orleans. Watching a rerun of Star Trek Enterprise on CBS. No, sorry, on Paramount Plus, with the character from NCIS going, "This show sucks. I've always hated it. That captain is no good." And then they'll turn it off. Yeah, that's that.
So that leads us to our first community question this week. If Jonathan Archer were to show up on New Trek, would you rather him be on Star Trek Picard or Strange New Worlds? In either case, what kind of story would you hope to see him involved in? Let us know in the comments section for this episode at priority1podcast.com or by replying to our social media posts as they happen on places like Facebook and Twitter. I hope somebody wrote down that question because I didn't.
No.
No.
Go ahead, Tony. Take us out with this last one.
With enough of the rumors, or
Yeah.
okay. All right, enough with the rumors. We've got one confirmed appearance of a legacy Trek actor reprising their earlier role. On episode 360 of Comic Book Central, Billy Campbell, who you might recall, played Thaddean Okona on TNG's Season 2 episode entitled The Outrageous Okona, let slip that he'll be returning to the role on Nickelodeon's Star Trek Prodigy. In the interview, Campbell goes on to talk about his experience on Star Trek and even teases about how his character will return. Links to the interview will be in the show notes.
I love these kind of interviews. There are little snippets from these interviews that I, as an actor, listen to and pay attention to. And in one instance, he talks about his experience being on set for this filming and that he was new to Hollywood. How he talks about how he was in line to be Riker and even was in the same audition room with Jonathan Frakes at one point. But one of the things that I really enjoy is when they tell stories about how, they're struggling with a scene and they turn to one of their more veteran actors and they get a hint. And in this case, in this episode, which arguably is shoddily written, there's terrible dialogue. It's just a hard episode. And he talks about that. He talks about how it was hard in one scene, in this particular scene with Sir Patrick Stewart, how he's supposed to laugh, and he was struggling because there was just nothing in the script to guide him.
Funny.
And it wasn't funny. So he's like, Sir Patrick, can you help me? How do I laugh?
Prior to him being a sir, he was probably
I don't think he called him Sir Patrick.
You're right.
Yeah.
And
Hey, old guy.
He probably said, "Hey, Patty, what do you think?"
And he gave him this little trick, and I tried it out, and it freaking works. So listen to the interview, and if you're an actor and need help on figuring out how to make yourself laugh when something's not funny, go listen to this interview.
What can you tell me? Can you tell me the trick? So
we need this, Anthony.
Yeah, we definitely need this when we're on the show with you.
Yeah, definitely. The funniest thing about this is that he and I thought of the exact same thing at the exact same time. I could see a little light bulb go off above his head, and he saw the little light bulb go off above my head. And this is the magic of podcastering. It's the magic of it. It's really great. We broke him. Audio magic, everybody. He's wiping tiny tears from his eyes. Wiping tiny tears.
I think we can sweep out now.
Those must. Never mind. I won't say it.
Oh.
Go ahead, Anthony. Go ahead.
No.
I don't think you can hurt me more tonight. That's okay.
No, challenge not accepted.
Shall I sweep us out? I can sweep us out. I volunteer. Okay. All right. Well, captains, that's all the news we have to trek out. Oh, that was bad.
Can you?
Well, captains, that's all the news we have to trek out this week. Now let's not welcome to the show. Star Trek Gaming.
Gaming, yeah.
Now let's trek out the news this week from Star Trek Gaming.
Do that sweep all over
in Star Trek Gaming. Yeah. Well, captains, that's all the news we have to trek out this week. Now let's see what's going on in the world of Star Trek Gaming.
All right, that ended at 36-38.
By the way, Cairo in the chat, I did not mean to steal your joke. I did not see it, and I did not read your comment until after I said that. It's probably because it's such a predictable thing to go to. Them watching Enterprise on the holodeck.
I am curious to see how they get him on there, and if they do want to try to get him, because I got to think that NCIS is like Law and Order. Like, you can just keep making those forever, but you got to think that at some point he's like, let me do something else now. I'm done. I've solved enough murders now. Bakula's got to be finished with that. Get me out of here.
All right, gaming at 37-40. I'll take this open. All right, gaming in 3, 2. Captains, we have all 4 of the 2021 legendary Klingon and Klingon-adjacent ships on Sensor Wars. The Burrell, Bird of Prey. The
Centaurs. That's what I said. Oh. Centaurs.
The Burrell, Bird of Prey. The Vorcha, Command Support Battlecruiser. The Excelsior, Miracle Worker Heavy Crew. Who's fucking around in the notes? Who is that? It's Thomas
Hands up.
Reynolds.
My hands are up.
Thomas Reynolds.
Is it Panda?
It's Panda. It's Panda messing around with the text. Panda, move your cursor away. Oh, he screwed up. He screwed up. This wasn't finished. Hold on.
Oh, I don't think you're supposed to read that part of the script.
I see. Okay.
It's in the copy.
He wants
banter.
Great. So, hey, Tony and Tony.
Yeah.
Go fuck yourselves.
That's better than when we're fired.
So it takes a lot for him to drop an F-bomb in the middle of the live show. That's I
He's
think
getting
we've
older too. We broke him too.
I think we pushed him a little too far tonight.
You know what it was? Is that the two of you had it at the same damn
That's
time.
really what's got him. What got him is that we had like a chemistry thing going on.
Yeah.
It was at the same time the two of you came at me with the same shit. You both suck so much. So much.
It's one thing if somebody picks it up and goes, the other person like runs after you, but if we picked it up at the same time and went at the same, I can see why that stung.
Yeah.
It wouldn't have happened if you just given us the tip.
You're just mean.
What is the tip? Can you tell us what it is?
If you shared the tip, we wouldn't have...
He says to what's the freaking word? Let all the air out of your lungs. Expand all the air out of your lungs, and so that you're almost empty. So. Whereas if you take a full breath, it's harder. It's harder to fake.
Yeah. So you put it does work because you're trying to suck
Oh,
air.
I see.
You're trying to suck air in.
It's not. You're not trying to make yourself laugh. You're trying to emulate the physical motion of what you do when you laugh.
Yeah.
So release all the air out of your lungs and then try to laugh. Don't take a breath in to try to laugh.
Right. That's pretty good. That's a great. It's a good tip.
I'm sorry you had to hear that, Anne-Marie. If you heard me telling them to go F themselves. Apologies to anyone whose delicate sensibilities I may have offended. Apologies. Please forgive me. But they deserved it. We
might have deserved it.
I mean, I always deserve it.
We might have deserved
I try to keep this show rated PG, 13 at most. So I get one F-bomb.
You get one.
One F-bomb.
Yeah.
I get one. I get one.
You do.
That is true. I have a theory. I mentioned this on the Priority One Armada live stream a couple weeks ago, but I have a theory that immediately after Discovery Season 4, they're gonna film my idea of an Avengers style mashup with all these characters, and that's why we're hearing all these rumors of bringing Cisco back and bringing Archer back and no. all this stuff.
The rumor was not that Cisco was gonna come back. Okay, so it was he was what's his name? Oh my goodness, Jake Cisco.
Sirach
Lofton. He was very specific. He didn't say that he was coming back. He said that Avery Brooks was interested in returning to acting. Not that he was interested in coming back to Star Trek. Maybe he'll teach you how to laugh.
Yeah,
How about your shitty idea about an Avengers style Star Trek thing?
God.
It works in comic books. It just isn't going to work. I don't think it's going to work on TV. In Star Trek, especially Star Trek.
Look, Cox.
They need to do it as a celebration of the 50-year franchise, and then they can move forward. That's what's missing.
Listen up,
That's
Cox.
why so many people have a hard time accepting new Trek.
You came into this episode with me acting polite. Then you and Tony teamed up on me. That's it. The gloves are off. That's it.
I accept my share of responsibility for this.
Accept the responsibility. I was being nice this whole time, and then the two of you ganged up on me.
I'd like to accept responsibility for my part.
Now I'm just like, fuck this shit. Come on, let's go. Let's go. Bring it on.
That's two F-bombs. MPAA, if you're watching.
Come
that's
on,
two.
Cletus. Hercules.
You're walking over here, but you're limping back.
Well, that's an old throwback.
Well, we talked about Coming to America too. So Nutty Professor I think is appropriate. It's
true. I am excited for Coming to America too.
Panda, are you done yet? Because we've been bantering for a long time.
Done, go. There it is, highlighted in yellow. Got it.
Done, go. Highlighted in yellow.
Okay.
All right. So then, gaming news is 43:45, please.
Release the Elio.
So gaming in 3, 2. Captains, we have all 4 of the 2021 legendary Klingon and Klingon adjacent ships on sensors. The Burrell, bird of prey. The Vorcha, command support battlecruiser. Together will bring honor to the Empire. As the Excelsior, miracle worker, heavy cruiser, and temporal support cruiser represent Federation ships entwined with Klingon history. In-depth analysis will come after the bundle is available, but we have some thoughts to share while we wait. Priority 1. Also, Priority 1 wants to hear your opinions too. So, analyze the ship stats in our show notes and be sure to let us know by replying to this community question post. And be sure to let us know by replying to this community question. So, what I find interesting about this Legendary Bundle is all the changes that are happening in real time.
Mm-hmm.
Anthony, you've been nodding your head about that. Tell us a little bit more about what you're seeing with this Legendary Bundle and all these changes.
Well, as with any large bundle like this, when the announcement first comes, there's always, the complaining of it's not as good as the previous one. It doesn't have this. It doesn't have that. It should have been this. It should have been that. And, normally, in my opinion, there's a little bit of criticism to that is true, but for the most part, Cryptic can release whatever bundles they want and price them for whatever they want, and we can do the math on whether or not we find value in these bundles or not. And I think that's different for every person, because a lot of times in these bundles, it has ships and consoles and traits that are from previous bundles or previous ships, and so the more you own, the less value there is in it. So there's always complaining, and there's almost never anything done about it, right? This time, they not only made changes to 2 ships before this, then when they announced the Temporal Support Cruiser, the Enterprise C version, they also made changes to that ship. So they made a lot, and that's after they added some stuff to the bundle before they made changes to the specific ships as well. So they really listened to the criticism this time around, and they actually made some major changes to these ships and to this bundle. And a lot of people are actually surprised, me included. And I think that this is a double-edged sword, because yes, it's great that they listened and that they made changes, but I think that it sets a poor precedent that in the future, when people complain and they don't make changes, then people are going to get more upset.
Business-wise, they just want this thing to go out the door at this price point. And so throwing in some more digital goodies makes perfect sense to me. I mean, what they're looking for marketing-wise is X number of customers spending Y dollars before time Z. And if they can get that X number to go up without changing the Y number, the number of people go up and the dollar figure stays the same, it's a win for them. So throw in an extra low buy, that just means you buy another ship, which means you play with more stuff in your paper doll interface there. You got to get the equipment for it, so you're probably going to need some upgrades, and so those upgrades are going to either be done with in-game events or you're going to buy some. I mean, there's no real downside to them putting something out there and going, you need more? You need more? Okay, a little more. A little more. Good? No? A little more? Okay, a little more. Okay, you good? No? A little more? This seems perfectly reasonable to me, and I bet we'll see it again. We'll see it the next time they do a Legendary Bundle.
But they didn't just add stuff. They actually changed the stats of the ship. They changed the traits the ships come with. They added hull strength to some of the ships. Sure. They even changed the specialization of some of the ships, which I don't think they've ever done that before.
All they got to do is go into the back end and go extract this, put that in, change a couple of fields in their spreadsheet. It's not hard. I mean, maybe it might offend someone's balance design, and that one of the designers thought was the best idea, but it's not hard for them to do.
Well, I understand that, but it's just that they've never done it before. Like, they've never taken the criticism and actually made changes like this before at this level. And that's what's so surprising about this.
If you're gonna pay a top dollar. Might as well get the best.
As I'm looking through some of these ships, I think the one that's impressive to me or most applicable to my style of gameplay would be the Excelsior. I mean, I kind of like this preview of the Repulse variant that they're offering. It kind of looks reminiscent of the Sovereign, but I think the underside is still very much Excelsior, the hull, the bottom hull. I think I saw pictures of that on social media. More specifically, I kind of like the idea of the trait, that's a big ship starship trait that gets unlocked when you hit level 5 mastery of the ship. And it's whenever you activate a captain or engineering bridge officer, it boosts your maximum hull and damage resistance rating for several seconds. And I would definitely use that on an escort or a battle cruiser, right? Where I could still kind of be nimble and also be not a squishy glass cannon.
Do you want to keep going? We got more?
Thomas
has a whole bunch of good stuff in
here.
here.
So
Panda's got a bunch of good stuff in here.
Go ahead, pick something from Panda's notes here.
So one of the things that was missing last year from all the legendary ships were the legendary enterprises, the B and the C. And of course, what we have here is here's the C. It's Klingon adjacent because the Klingons blew it up over Narendra. So there we go. There's our tie-in there for the Enterprise C. And then of course the Excelsior. That's a big ship. The famous closing line there from Scotty was in Star Trek VI, which was also very Klingon-centric. So I think that's reasonable. That's a reasonable connection for including these ships in the Klingon bundle. But I think that also goes back to why they're making those changes, because there's only 4 ships, and 2 of them are Federation ships. So they're, I think, pleased to offer additional bonuses and positive changes when they're going to ask for that steep price tag.
We can move on to the next one.
All right, here we go. Previously on Star Trek Online, the Klingon Civil War went south as Ja'ula's truth bombs jump-started an Imperial polyfaction spree? Okay. Previously on Star Trek Online, the Klingon Civil War went south as Ja'ula's truth bombs jump-started an Imperial polyfaction spree. In knowledge's power, Ja'ula's friends, and not you, joined Tenavik on her run-and-gun vision quest. Join Tenavik on her run-and-gun vision quest through the Boreth Monastery. One bad trip leads to another as they resurrect the late Chancellor L'Rell as an icon of reunification. What the time crystals left out is that her soul's in Grethor, so it's time to do a little soul searching. Don't do time crystals, kids. It's bad for you. Leap of Faith closes the loop with the whole gang suffocating themselves Flatliners style to storm Grethor's gates and liberate L'Rell. You meet Gowron in the Rio's smoking area on your way to the Barge of the Dead and Feklar's throne. Gowron takes L'Rell's place in Grethor because, the Rio. But Ja'ula makes a counteroffer. Maybe Gempox and Akar's soul instead? Oh, souls. Maybe Gempox and Akar's souls instead? She was going to kill them anyway. But first, you have a lot of demons between you and the waking world. House Reborn is another 2-mission addition that you could call an episode. We won't, but that Targ's been beaten to death already. The Klingon Civil War only totals 6 missions, but might be Star Trek Online's most engaging story since the Iconian War ended. We're not dissing Victory is Life in any way, but make this a mini-series, and we're there with the popcorn. 3 houses down, and it's clear Star Trek Online's writers aren't afraid of the narrative swerve. What separates this from what we see on CBS Paramount Plus is that the hard pivots are plausible. This is the Star Trek we wish was on TV. But as we'll see later, that might not be all good. Talking about TV, with Chifo, O'Reilly, and Hertzler behind the mic, is anyone really that surprised that the voice acting's so good? It's an out-and-out pleasure to have them back in our Trekkie lives with or without the ridges. Ja'ula and Adat Pa are mostly the game's...
Your phrasing and cadence is weird for this. Talking about TV. I think he's like talking about TV. with Chief O.
Talking about TV.
O'Reilly,
You know, I was
and-
just talking about TV the other day. I got my friends here. These you guys are here. We were just talking about TV like a second ago, in the previous segment. Okay. Talking about TV with Chief O, O'Reilly, and Hertzler behind the mic. Is anyone surprised that the voice acting is so good? It's an out-and-out pleasure to have them back in our Trekkie lives, with or without the ridges. Juula and Adet Pa are mostly the game's invention, but Mara Juno, how do you say her name? Junot? Mara Juno?
Mara.
I'm going with Mara Juno.
Juno, yeah. To take it from Juula and Adet Pa.
Juula and Adet Pa are mostly the game's invention, but Mara Juno and Rekha Sharma make them worthy of screen time.
Pivoting to gameplay, the missions are very different, so we'll address each individually. But in 10 words or less, more and more of the same. Knowledge is power follows the traditional formula of warp in, things up,
No,
warp
go ahead,
out.
You can say because we'll bleep it.
Oh, I get it.
And we've already used our one F-bomb for the episode already.
Sorry, I didn't understand that that's what was supposed to happen. Knowledge is power. Knowledge is power follows the traditional formula. Knowledge is power follows the traditional formula of warp in, fuck things up, warp out. Space combat as captain. Space combat as captain yourself bookends a protracted slog as Juula around the monastery.
Yaula.
Juula. That was a good one. I like that.
Jaula is also the striking form shadows type of matriarch.
Strike from shadows.
Strike from shadows.
Assassin.
Jaula is also the strike from shadows type of matriarch, not a drag out brawler, making it even more tedious. Go back and watch the engineering room cutscene in secrets. See what she has with her? Mobs of goons providing cover fire and ripper chow. You will draw aggro as the largest damage source on your side, and the hypo spray can't recharge fast enough. The curse of competence, I guess. Bless Cryptic for reinforcing hand-to-hand combat's prominence in Klingon culture, religion, children's birthday parties, and Kronos dating scene. And the Kronos dating scene.
Take it from Bless Cryptic.
Bless Cryptic for reinforcing hand-to-hand combat's prominence in Klingon culture, religion, children's birthday parties, and the Kronos dating scene. The game just isn't suited to it. This is painfully apparent as you spam Juula's single melee attack in one-button battles of attrition. If there's any upside, the cathartic thrill of every single kill you make is very Klingon. So, immersion?
In comparison, Leap of Faith is a lot easier. You're yourself again, with your crew and the loadouts you're used to. 3 ambushes in the afterlife precede the fun of clawing your way out to the gateway barge. The mission is capped by a...
Getaway barge. Getaway barge.
What did I say? Gateway barge? Damn it.
Gateway barge.
3 ambushes in the afterlife precede the... 3 ambushes in the afterlife precede the fun of clawing your way out of the getaway barge.
Still
Out to
with
the
the
getaway
not-
barge. I got it.
Yeah.
3 ambushes in the afterlife precede the fun of clawing your way out to the gateway barge. Getaway.
Nope.
God damn it.
All right. I'm going to go get a drink while you're doing this.
You son of
I should have plenty of time.
3 ambushes in the afterlife precede the fun of clawing your way out of the getaway barge. Out to the getaway barge.
I don't want to get out
My
of the getaway
God.
barge. Once I'm on the getaway barge, I'd like to stay there and get away.
3 ambushes in the afterlife precede the fun of clawing your way out to the getaway barge. The mission is capped by a final space battle to remind you that this is, in fact, still Star Trek. Not as bad as the first is damning with faint praise.
Just damning. You don't need to damn it.
I will damning. It is damning. Damning.
It's not damning.
Damning.
It's damning. You're
Let
damning.
me say it the way I say it. I say damning.
Damn it.
I do say damn it. Damn it. Damn it, Tony.
Damn it.
The mission is capped by a final space battle to remind you that this is, in fact, still Star Trek. Not as bad as the first is damning with faint praise. But really, leap of faith just works better. The ambushes are sudden and believably short. Escaping Grethor is actually a plot point with a clear narrative start and end. The space battle can be a challenge even at normal. And not just from how long the portals stay open. Say what you will about Farang dreadnoughts as event ships. They're a lot more beastly when pointed at you. Say what you will about Farang dreadnoughts
when pointed at you.
Okay.
Well, or people that pointed at you.
Say what you will about Farang dreadnoughts as event ships. They're a lot more beastly when pointed at you. However, as associate producer Shane put it, quote, surface tension is long. It's always been long. But unlike the new missions, every step tells the story. Every stage of every fight advances the story. Instead of being long while you're in it, it just feels like it's big stakes and large scale. It's like victory is life's home in that way. End quote. House Reborn, on the other hand, struggles where Shattered did too. Gameplay is a grinding vehicle between dialogue boxes and cutscenes. But that's where the money is, and it certainly shows. As Shane pointed out, however, we know it's possible to have engaging gameplay that advances the story too.
I love Star Trek Online, and I love the storytelling in Star Trek Online. And I love the story in... What's the name of the first episode?
First episode of what? The first episode of the
two featured episodes?
Yeah, Knowledge is Power.
Knowledge is Power.
And I love the storytelling in Knowledge is Power. The gameplay and the mechanics are atrocious. I will never play that. I will never play it again. It was really, for me, I really disliked it to the point where whenever I would approach a new mob or a new mob would spawn in, I literally would alt-tab out of the game and wait for the NPCs to kill everybody. That's how bad it was for me.
You know, so the Boreth mission was a bit of a grind for me, and it did not help that at the very end, when I was battling not Gowron, but Gowron, the NPC, the main NPC, that the Gowron, not Gowron, somehow got pushed outside of the boundary of the map, of the environment map. So all of a sudden, I'm fighting, and I realize, wait a minute, I'm not progressing here because the main target is not dying, right? Is not losing health. And so I did what I have come to learn to do in Star Trek Online, which is, okay, then exit the map, get out of combat, exit the map, and come back in. Or log out of the game and come back in. Well, my friends, I logged out of the game. I came back in, and I had to start at Boreth from the start. I wanted to scream. Because, ironically, as Panda points out in his writing, compared to Grethor, Holy Boreth was the eternal torment.
Yeah, it's true. No, I was talking with my son the other day. He's been playing Star Trek Online for quite a long time as well, and I'm going to use the word reminiscing, but reminiscing has a good connotation, and it wasn't necessarily a good connotation. Y'all remember the Bajor episode where you just wandered around Bajor? That one took forever too. The advantage that mission had over this one is that you felt like you were just getting to know a place, right? Mm-hmm.
and it was like you go visit this thing and you're exploring the social map, and they're showing you where this thing is and you're showing you where that thing is, giving you some lore and some background. The purpose there wasn't to do a usual Star Trek Online mission. The purpose there was to get to know a place, and to get to know a bit of the background and the story. That was and so even though it was tedious and it took a long time, there was a point. And I didn't feel like that was clear with this mission, right? Like, it felt like there was some stuff in there several times when it was just there because we have to do this thing 3 times. You have to kill 3 mobs. Okay, check. We've killed 3 mobs. We have to put the key in 3 things. We have to defeat 3 enemies. Okay, check. We got the keys done now. Okay, now we have to go through 4 doors. The doors will open now. You must open the doors. Here I am saying the word doors again because I'm Sam Witwer.
Did you open the doors? The Doors.
Did you open the door? Close the door behind you.
I just got the latest album from The Doors.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, it just felt like there's a lot of box checking going on, and that nothing. It could have been cut. You really could have cut it, and I wouldn't have missed it. It never felt like there was a real reason to do those things, unlike the Bajor mission back in the day.
So I think the problem with what was going on Borath wasn't so much the story, but that it was interrupted so much by ground combat.
By stuff you didn't need.
And it was ground combat that you had to play as Ja'ula with minimal powers. That was the other problem. Was so much fighting with so little abilities.
And I wonder if they did that because of the recruitment event, right? The recruitment event is like, kill 1,000 bajillion things in hand-to-hand combat. And this is a perfect perfect mission to do that with. However, unless you do the recruit event and you level up your Klingon, you're not going to be able to play this mission to take advantage of all that melee combat, right? So it was like putting a cart before the horse a little bit here in terms of using that as a recruitment objective and then having this mission. Now here's the thing though. I don't want to misrepresent what I didn't like about the mission. I liked being in Ja'ula's shoes. I liked playing as Ja'ula. I thought that pulling me into that narrative was fun. Just the execution in terms of the combat pulled me out.
Do it for the narrative. Yeah, do it for the narrative, right? Do it for the narrative purposes, but then keep that focus, right? If your purpose is to walk a mile in Ja'ula's shoes, then just walk the mile. We don't need to kill an army of NPC mobs because that's not the point. Yeah, that's not the point of this mission. The point of this mission is to have a Klingon narrative experience like Bajor was. You're supposed to go down there and have a Bajoran experience. And save the combat for the next mission where, like we said during our review, it makes more sense. You're invading hell. You might as well bring some firepower with you and blow some stuff up. Because they're not going to care. They're just going to respawn in Grethor.
And I completely agree. In fact, I very much enjoyed sort of the bit with Kahless at the beginning and the bit with the car at the end. Those felt like narrative set pieces within that story, but it was the slog in between that really was just not interesting to me and tedious, beyond tedious. And when they've done this in other episodes where you play as a different character, even when you play as the Zenkethi character, there's some fighting in that, but it's still a narrative, and you are experiencing this character. And you're right, there was not nearly as much as there was in this episode.
Yeah, it just felt like this needs to be longer. You need to have more scenes. You need to have more checkboxes. Which then, and we had discussed with Al, if you're going to do that, you need some map transitions in there for checkpoints.
And Elio, I do think that you can play the featured episodes at level 10, if I'm not mistaken. Possibly even when you're out of the tutorial.
Now, whether you bought out or grinded for the long haul, odds are good that you have your Tamir now. The 5-1 weapon layout, and I don't like saying these numbers out loud.
You could just hold them up for the camera for our audio podcast.
Now, the weapon layout and the bridge officer assignments, along with console allotments, clearly mean it's an Alpha strike ship. Right up, drop the cloak, let your cannons rip, and slick into darkness while they're mopping up their Earl Grey.
Slink.
You
said slick.
Right up, drop your cloak, let your cannons rip, and slink into darkness while they're mopping up their Earl Grey. Or, and hear us out on this one, maybe not, the Tamer's enhanced battle cloak lets you fire torpedoes, mines, and captain bridge officer abilities without fully switching it off. Therefore, it's also a perfectly competent gravity well and or torpedo boat, even with its low science console capacity. Yes, your cloak drops momentarily to light them up, but it's still considered active as traits are concerned. Just make sure your hull is up to it, since you're spending most of the fight without shields. Do either of you have the Tamer?
Not yet. I've got 3 or 4 more days to go.
I haven't played daily, man. If I want the ship, I'm gonna have to buy it outright. I just haven't wanted to log into the game daily and do the dailies.
Too bad for you. I'm gonna have a submarine. I'm gonna make a submarine.
I'm gonna call mine the Red October. I did just unlock it, but I have not had a chance to play around with it. Although this suggested build sounds very fun and very unique, so I'll probably give it a try.
Well, that leads us to our next community question. With this new Tamer build, will you be making a torpedo boat? If not, what kind of build are you using for this raider? Let us know in the comment section for this episode at PriorityOnePodcast.com, or by replying to our social media or by replying to our community questions that we post on our social media channels. That's all, folks. Tony, why don't you, or Anthony, why don't you read this one?
Sure. So, you have a stack of lockbox key. That's not how you say X. So, you have a stack of lockbox keys in one inventory slot, and a Zatvash.
Jatvash.
Jatvash lockbox.
Not Jatvash, but
You have to say it like Sean Connery.
Zatvash.
Jatvash lockbox.
Junior, we called the dog Indiana. You missed it. You missed it, Tony. You on the Priority One Armada show, I was doing Sean Connery impressions.
Yeah, I totally missed the whole Junior thing. That's a good one. You should, break
Junior. I also just watched The Last Crusade the other day, so it helps. It helps.
Such a good one.
We called the dog Indiana. So you have a stack of lockbox keys in one inventory slot, and Zatvash lockboxes in the other. You got a number 1 ground pet on your first try, by far the most important item you can get. Now what? You could always put the rest on the exchange, but Priority One Podcast thinks there's still value to be found. We think these prizes are worth the Zen you'll spend to unlock them.
Well, let's take turns. First up, I regret my decision.
I'm glad you
Mistakes were made. I was so happy when you said that.
We'll wait right here.
First up, the Dalkina Command Strike Wing Warbird, taking the highest risk for the highest reward? How very Romulan of you. Or you could cheat and get it off the exchange for a cool 690 million energy credits. Also very Romulan. Tony.
Next up, the Zatvash Disruptor Weapons. Who doesn't like a weapon that adds its own stacking damage buff and reduces the target's damage resistance?
Zatvash Venom ground trait? Kind of gross, very entertaining. Plus, if your ground build is terrible, you'll get a lot of mileage out of the Death's triggered AoE attack. From Hell's Heart, I spray at thee.
The Choose to Live ground trait is very handy for your The Choose to Live ground trait can be very handy for your Klingon recruit as they grind those melee kill objectives. Just do Greth or just do Borth a few times. You'll be good.
Ugh.
I got a couple of these ground traits. I'm not so sure I'll ever use them. The spray. I never like AoE death things. It's like, no, man. No, just keep your death contained. You die. I want you to die. Don't spread it around.
And lastly, in other gaming news, we all know mobile developer Scopely as the studio that brings us Star Trek Fleet Command. And now, they're the creators of a new web-based 8-bit piece of Star Trek history. In a blog posted... In a blog posted to the community site... Sweet Jesus. In a blog posted to the community site on February 11th...
Company site.
In a blog posted to the company site on February 11th, Scopely announced a new contest inviting players to beat Star Trek's infamous Kobayashi Maru scenario. Put your command abilities to the test against deadly dangers like daggerpox, hidden poison, and of course, Klingon ambush. But contest, do I say? I do indeed, captains. If you're able to defeat this Kobayashi Maru faster than anyone else, you could win one of several big prizes. The first prize winner takes home a lifetime subscription to Paramount Plus and an original series Captain Kirk green wrap tunic as seen on Season 1. Second prize includes a $500 Eagle Moss ship collectibles package, a Captain Kirk standee, and a personalized captain's assignment letter to the USS Enterprise. The third prize wins a $200 Star Trek gift shop gift card and a Starfleet Academy personalized certificate. But you won't win. You can't win. It's a no-win scenario. After all, a connected Facebook account is required to enter the contest. Talk about a no-win scenario.
No, it's easy. You just have to hack Facebook.
Sure.
That's the first thing I thought of.
Yeah, you just hack Facebook and then you go in and reset it so that the Klingons will blow it up. Done.
But you gotta eat an apple while you do that.
You gotta eat an apple.
And make a pew sound.
Have you guys tried it? I gave it a shot, and it's definitely an old DOS kind of, answer the question, choose your adventure, game.
It's cute.
I did it once.
I deleted my Facebook a year ago, and am loving life ever since.
Fair enough.
Must be nice. Is that why you haven't accepted my friend request?
Did you make a friend request?
I did, and you haven't accepted it yet. I thought it was because you didn't like me.
Go off the rails, sweep us out.
Who's sweeping?
I think me.
Anthony, go ahead.
That's the news from Star Trek Games this week.
Now let's open hailing frequencies.
That's the news from Trek. That's the news from Trek Games this week. Now let's open hailing frequencies and see what's incoming.
All right, that ended at 1:17:35. I'm sorry if we cut a story. This was going long. I think
we also skipped a community question, but we already have 3.
Yeah, that's good.
So,
including one you made up, which I don't know what that is.
I'm trying to write it now.
In case of no news. Oh yeah, okay. So we were good to skip this. Okay, good.
Yeah.
All right, I have.
And I literally deleted my Facebook account a year ago. So and you shouldn't have been able to make a friend request because I'm gone.
Just kidding. Maybe it was a different.
Do you guys want to talk?
Maybe it was a different Tony
Hunter.
Hunter.
Restroom, and either we can speed through feedback or
go.
Yeah.
No. Go.
Yeah. Get a drink.
Go. Yeah.
Go to the restroom.
Yeah.
Are
you going in that? Are you going in that room?
You guys very well.
Why did he close the? Why did he turn the camera off? Is he going in that room?
He very well could be. I mean,
Wow.
I think we have to make that assumption.
Maybe Allie's not so much. Allie's a light sleeper, so he's got to go in the corner of his office to not wake her up. Maybe that's what it is.
I think we have to assume that's what's going on.
Must be. That's the narrative we're going with.
I think it has to be because
that is the narrative we're going with.
We have no evidence to the contrary, and so our assumptions are clearly the most reasonable explanation.
Oh, while we're waiting, Tony, you want to see what my wife got me for my birthday?
Oh, I'm yes.
So she
Mannequin head, magic trick.
She magic lessons. Yeah, you got it. No, she got me a she bought some artwork and she had it printed and she framed it herself. So here's the first one.
Is that Optimus Prime?
It's a patent. It's the patent for Optimus Prime. Okay.
Oh.
And it says
nice.
it says 1985. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, and then we have the patent for the DeLorean.
The DeLorean,
Okay.
yeah.
1986.
I see. I noticed there's no Mr. Fusion on the back. That must
No.
be the stock DeLorean.
Yeah.
Stock pre time circuit installation.
Yep.
All right.
Then the Batmobile. 1989.
Right.
Although this says 1990, which is weird because I'm pretty sure it was.
That might have been for the sequel. That might have been the update for the sequel.
Yeah. By the way, Batman Returns is one of my favorite Christmas movies.
And I have to say, I like that version of the Batmobile probably more than any of the other ones. That's probably my favorite version.
then you'll love this. 3,300 pieces.
Oh my God, that's a lot of Legos.
Yes, it is. Yep.
That's a lot.
Look, the
of
cockpit opens the correct way, right?
Now that's a lot bigger than a minifigure scale.
It is. Well, it does come with 3 minifigures, but they're a little.
Yeah, that's not to scale.
Not quite to scale.
Not quite to scale.
Yeah, this took me 12 hours to build.
That's a lot. That's impressive. Yeah.
The guns. If you turn the thing here, the guns pop up.
Oh, nice.
So
nice.
I don't want to do it because the Legos will fly everywhere. But
no,
yeah.
No,
yeah,
there'll be consequences.
Took me 12
I don't know what they're
hours
saying,
to
but
build
it's not
that.
as important as what I'm about to say. So I need a
Hang on.
huge favor from everybody. Huge.
Oh God.
Huge favor. So, all right, look, if you're watching us live right now, you might already be aware that we're releasing these captain's vlogs where I dress up as a Klingon. It's a lot of work. I mean, Anthony can attest to that because he helps me edit it on Mondays. But it's a ton of work. And screw YouTube algorithms. They suck. So if you can, please, right now, those of you watching, we got a nice crew happening right now. Oh, wait, who's saying, is Jim talking about the videos? Our videos? I can't tell what Jim's talking about. Or was it something that Anthony was saying?
We were talking about Batman.
Yeah, I was also showing the gifts that my wife got me. Here's the last one, Tony.
Oh, there you go.
Oh,
That's a patent. How's it patented? How can you patent the Enterprise?
I don't know, but it's artwork. But
oh, I'm sure they patented it for, like, I'm sure it's patented.
It's clearly copyrighted or trade dress.
Oh, okay, yeah. Right,
anything associated with the fiction.
So I just put the link to our latest captain's vlog from our channel. Hit that like button, like and comment. You gotta comment too. You gotta hit the like button and you gotta make a comment. I honestly don't care what you make the comment about, as long as it says something like Star Trek. Like, Star Trek is awesome, Klingons are cool. I don't care. Just do it, please. Let's get those algorithms to do what we need them to do. So I just put the link there in the chat. I hope you enjoy them. I really do. We're trying to build this up.
They're funny.
They're funny.
We try to make them funny. We try to make them entertaining, and we work really hard. Jake writes most of the script. Anthony and I split the editing. It takes a while for me to get into that makeup, and to get off of the makeup. That's what hurts the most, man. Getting off of the makeup is the worst part, because the glue goes right here, right? It goes right here and in here, right? So it's right above my brow. So all this, like, that sensitive fleshy skin that's there, I have to scrub so hard to get the adhesive, the bonding agent off. So look, if you guys are enjoying it, then hit that like button and comment on the videos. Commenting is a big deal. Between the comments and the like buttons, let YouTube know that these are entertaining. Because then what happens, here's why. What happens is that if YouTube sees that it's engaging content, then it'll put it on the recommended list on the bottom. You know how when you watch a YouTube video, it'll be like, oh, well, you watch this, you might also like this. So that's where we want to get. We want to be able to get on that list of recommendations. So please, for those of you watching right now in the chat, if you can take just a few minutes to do us that solid, that'd be fantastic, please. Make a comment. Like it and make a comment. All right.
You know, it would have been fun is if you'd said that before you went to go to the bathroom, because then they could have watched it while you were away.
Well, I was just under the impression that the two of you were going to entertain everybody.
We were. There was.
We
Gaffney
did.
was showing us.
I was showing
Lego
them.
sets.
I was showing them my completed Batmobile. Have you completed yours?
I have it. And you know what? Yo, do you want to buy my Batwing?
Me?
Yeah.
Maybe.
All right.
We'll talk. We'll talk.
There's no way I'm going to do a Batmobile and a Batwing. That's just not going to happen, man.
It took me 12. It took me 12 hours to do the Batmobile.
I'm gonna when we get off tonight, maybe I'll do a little bit more of the Batmobile. All right, feedback. Feedback starting at 1:25:15, please. 1:25:15. All right, feedback in 3, 2. Well, captains, hailing frequencies are now open, and we're ready to receive all of your incoming messages. Thank you, Dave. I got the notification on my phone.
Last week, our community question was...
Wow, you peaked really hard. It was like, last week! Sorry to all our listeners who just did that too.
You did a bad thing. Let me show you how bad it was.
I did. Sorry, guys. Don't forget to like that YouTube video.
Hang on, I gotta take my pills. There we go. It's my Paramount Plus.
Well, captains, hailing frequencies.
That's called a callback in comedy.
That's good.
Yeah.
It wasn't oversized though.
I'm
regular
sorry.
size.
You know what, Tony? Can you jot down this number instead? 12625 for feedback. 12625. Well, captains, hailing frequencies are now open, and we're ready to receive all of your incoming messages.
Last week, our community question was, if you're currently subscribed to CBS All Access and sticking around for Paramount Plus, what features do you hope they'll introduce?
Brian Jones replied, streaming from iPad to Apple TV without placing a giant now playing words on the screen. I mean, how hard is it to make a functioning app in 2021? I don't know, Brian. It's hard, obviously. It's apparently difficult.
I would like to say that us non-Apple users don't have these problems.
But there's no. But hold on a second.
Just saying.
It doesn't matter though. I think the closest thing to a functioning interface is to do CBS All Access through Amazon Prime.
I mean, I
don't have any problems.
I have it on Roku and on Fire TV, and I watch through the website, and I don't have any problems anymore. I did have problems early on, but I don't anymore.
Switch, dude, Tony.
Yeah.
Switch is next one.
From Instagram, Grey Wolf SCV writes in multiple profiles.
Also from Instagram, friend of the show Jamal Taylor 72 replies, offline viewing on Windows.
Glenn Larson on Facebook replied, access to more of the back catalog of Paramount Picture films. I canceled my CBS All Access when there's no new upcoming Trek. I'd like a reason to hold on to the subscription for the year. And you know what, Glenn? I agree. Because I thought about taking advantage of the 50% off for the entire year of Paramount Plus with no commercials. And then I took it back. I was like, you know what? I don't know when the next Star Trek is going to be. We know that Prodigy's coming in 2021, but we haven't seen any announcements about season 2 of Lower Decks. They just started principal photography for Strange New Worlds and Picard, and that's even unconfirmed. So there's when's the next Twilight Zone? I don't know when the next Twilight Zone is. The Stand is done. I finished watching The Stand. I'm kind of, what's there to watch? Why?
This is part of that whole the article we covered for the Check It Out segment. I only touched a little bit on there. That was a huge article with lots of different angles on it. One of the things they talked about was how they're keeping Showtime and CBS All Access / Paramount Plus separate. So it sounds to me like they're trying to keep their movie library for the Showtime service that they'll charge you separately for, and the TV and stuff are going to go with Paramount Plus, which is just, I mean, that's just dumb. But I'm sure they're going to make exceptions. Like I imagine the Star Trek movies will wind up on Paramount Plus, and they'll probably filter some over every once in a while. But they're probably going to keep the bulk of the library for Showtime. From PriorityOnePodcast.com, Sean Newboy writes in and says, "Loved the show, everyone. I enjoyed listening to Mary. Hooray to Leo for teaching Google that meat is the only way to spell the word. M-E-A-T. Meat. Yes.
I still don't know what the proper phrase is. Is it
M-E-E-T. Meat.
Ends meet? When two ends meet?
Making ends meet. That's right.
Why would it be two ends meet? That's something completely different, buddy.
Okay. Two meets. All right.
PG-13. And a recent review on Apple Podcasts from Starkate. And a recent review on Apple Podcasts from Starkate1001 says, "This podcast and community are amazing, so accepting and welcoming. Love the conversation you all have. This podcast and community are amazing, so accepting and welcoming. Love the conversations you all have on the different topics and amazing guests. Really like the longer episodes. Keep up the amazing works. LLAP. Live long and prosper." What?
Keep up the amazing work.
What did I say?
Works.
Keep up the amazing work and live long and prosper.
Thank you so very much, Starkate, for leaving us a review on Apple Podcasts. If you haven't already, please consider doing so. That's another metric in which you can help support the show by showing your support on places like the comment sections for YouTube, Twitch, and wherever you get your podcasts. And that wraps up episode 497 of Priority One, a Roddenberry Star Trek podcast. But there are more great shows available to you on the Roddenberry Podcast Network. Just visit podcasts.roddenberry.com for a complete list. Then be sure to subscribe to them all and share them with your friends.
But we can't forget to spend a
thanks.
We could spend a special thanks, but how does that convert to pounds, quid, rubles,
Latinum?
But we can't forget to send a special thanks to some of our Patreon supporters like David K. Rutley, Peter Archibald, and Gerald Bosch.
And here's a reminder of all the community questions we have this week. Everybody was afraid that we stopped asking them, and here we have like 8. Let's take turns doing these, by the way. First up, where do you think Captain Archer might make an appearance? Star Trek Picard, Strange New Worlds, something new, and if so, what kind of story do you hope they tell about him?
Our second community question.
Yeah, go ahead.
Our second community question. Are you getting the 2021 Legendary Ship Bundle now that all the ships have been revealed and all the updates have been made?
And finally, will you be using a cloaked torpedo build on your new Tamur Raider? If not,
Tamur.
What kind of
I think it's Tamir, not Tamur. Not like Timmy from South Park.
Will you be using And finally, Will you be using a cloaked torpedo build on your Tamar Raider? If not, what?
No, you got it right. I was just still making fun of you.
Oh, okay. I deserve it. If not, what kind of build will you be using?
Captains, it's important to us that you get your voice heard and that you participate in the conversation. Leave us a comment on our website at PriorityOnePodcast.com, on our Facebook page at Facebook.com/PriorityOnePodcast, or find us on Twitter and Instagram at PriorityOnePod.
And if you're still craving more, be sure to spend time with Winters, Kat, Thomas, Gray, and me, plus the rest of the Priority One Armada. Saturday nights, the Armada broadcasts live to review the latest news from Star Trek Online and the Armada community, including spotlighting some of our amazing members. With regular giveaways, there is something for all STO players, whether you are new or veteran. Follow us on our social media accounts for broadcast times, and if you'd like to join the Armada, visit PriorityOneArmada.com.
This episode of Priority One is brought to you by our patrons through Patreon.com. Captains, during these difficult times, we're humbled by the continued support of our patrons who find value in the content we produce each and every week. To find out how you can become a patron and earn special perks for doing so, visit patreon.com/Priority One.
Don't forget to tune in to Priority One Productions' Guard Frequency podcast at guardfrequency.com. Each episode, the Guard will take you inside the universe of your favorite space sims, including a tabletop adventure played out by your hosts. And Heroes Rise brings you up to date with a world of Dungeons and Dragons. Learn all about the latest publications, tools, tips, tricks, and traps in less time than it takes to skin a wyvern. Head over to heroesrisepodcast.com to discover their secrets.
Dave, stick around. I have an idea. Thanks to our audio editors, including Gray, Brandon, William, Daniel, Rand, Roscoe, Lennon, and Skiffy. Thanks to our producer, Jake, and associate producers, Shane and Thomas. Together, they help us organize and write up our summary of the weekly headlines from the Star Trek multiverse. Thanks to our emergency host hologram... What do we call you?
Yeah, no, that's it. Emergency host hologram.
Thanks to our emergency host hologram, social media manager, and co-editor on our Captain's Vlogs, Anthony. Yeah, you can say something if you want. I permit you.
You're welcome.
That's the pizzazz we're looking for.
That's exactly.
That's great.
I was channeling Bruce Willis in The Fifth Element when he's talking to Ruby Rod.
Well, it didn't come across because it just came out. It came across as just you being an asshole. Just that was it. It was just,
what?
no,
So
full of
successful.
Then you get your pizzazz. I got a whole face full of pizzazz.
Oozing pizzazz.
Thanks to our graphic artist Henry, with support from Jason of the Priority One Armada. Thanks
Need a
to the
sponge.
composer.
There was so much pizzazz.
Thanks to the composer of our theme music, Chris Watts. But most importantly, a big thanks to you, the Star Trek community, our listeners. Because without your ongoing support, none of this would be possible. So if you look, man, if you decide to buy the Batwing from me, I'll totally send it to you as a big clump of Legos super glued together, you son of a...
Tony, is this admissible in court?
It depends on what you're asking it for. I mean, there's hearsay problems with it already. I'll tell you.
Let me put it this way: if I buy it, okay, expecting it to be in a box in bags,
it'll be in a box
unglued.
in bags. Yeah. Oh, unglued.
Well, and I receive it glued. Do I have a case? Can I submit this as evidence?
I have to be very.
It really just depends on what the suit's about. Is it fitness for purpose? Did he breach an implied warranty? I think it's what you're after.
Dave with the check goes, Anthony, just sit back and put on your Bernie Sanders mitts.
Oh, that's right. He was sitting like this, wasn't he?
All right.
You know, I have a Bernie Sanders pop figure somewhere.
So captains, thank you so very much. I'm seeing some of the comments come in. Don't forget, please. That would be so helpful to us. Look, I know that, you know, maybe you don't have the money. Maybe you don't want to support us on Patreon. Maybe you don't have the money to support us on Patreon. But there are other ways that you can show how much you enjoy this production, right? Whether we do the podcast, whether we do the Captain's Vlogs. And that's by doing these little things, right? These little tiny things.
Teach
like,
the algorithm.
To teach the algorithm. So hitting that like button on our YouTube videos and commenting in the YouTube videos. Those are really big. Those are really, really big. Hey, Wise. Help yourself. And until then...
Hey, Zeph Films.
Zeph Films is there. What up, Zeph? So until next time, Captains, we're off. Take care of yourselves if you're in the frozen tundra of Rura Penthe in the middle parts of the United States.
Yes.
Stay warm. Stay fed. Make sure your pantries are stocked up. And we'll see you next week. Cat, hopefully, will be thawed out by then, and we'll be able to join us. So until next time, say goodnight, everybody.
Good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody. Thank you.
Command codes verified. Priority 1 message from Starfleet coming in on secured channel.